Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Okay, ladies and germs, going out on a road trip today, testing out the Fuji X-H2. Going to do some landscape photography, maybe some macro. I only got sent one lens to review with this, and that is probably the best lens of the year, which is the fujinon 56mm f1.2. So a ripper of a lens. It's going to require me to be fairly creative because landscapes, one lens, one focal length, but it's what I like is the outdoors. So come with me on this little journey. Test driving X-H2 from Fuji. Now there must be about 38 million different types of video that you can do with this, from full HD 720p right up to 8K 30 frames per second and everything in between. It's quite incredible all the different options you do have for video, which in my opinion makes this a true hybrid. And today I guess I'm proving that point. I'm doing some photography out here at Lake Manchester, and I'm also going to be doing some B-roll with the Fuji X-H2. And you'll be able to see the footage. I'll let you know on the screen when it's Fuji and when it's not, because I'm actually recording this on the Canon R6 Mark II. Just trying to get some composition with the 56mm. It is a bit tricky because it is 56mm. Now, one of the things I struggle with is going back and forwards with the settings. I much prefer using the Canon software, Canon settings, than Fuji. Just trying to get that water coming off the cliff face. Looks pretty cool. Hopefully this sounds all right on the lav mic. So I'm shooting in manual mode, and I have 40 megapixels at my disposal, which is pretty cool. And I've got to zoom with my feet because I'm on this one lens. But it looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll crop in a bit on this. I'm one stop over, but I just want to make sure the water's not blown out. Anyway, you'll see that up on the screen. I guess they've really come to the forefront here with 8K as well. It's pretty special. We'll keep walking, see what else we can find. And some B-roll of me walking. Alrighty. I think I can see a bit of a composition down here in amongst the leaves floating in the water. So we're going to go down, check it out, and see if I can get a nice high-res shot with this fixed focal length. I don't know if you can see that. Massive lizard on the tree just scared the shit out of me. I won't be going down there because those things can do some serious damage, but I'll take some photos while I'm here. And even a good opportunity to shoot some video. And I think I'm going to jump into 8K for this. 8K 16:9, 25 frames per second. That's a big lizard. So I don't have an ND filter, so this is about as dark as I can get it right now. I could go to 4K, 50 frames per second. There you go. I'll leave that guy alone. Now, just still getting used to the settings here on the X-H2. Just trying to get a bit of a composition there of the power lines going over the hill, the water, the lilies in front of me. So just trying to get something together. It's a bit tricky in the lighting, but I love the feeling of the X-H2. It just feels really very Fuji-like, which I've always appreciated, is the Fuji cameras. I don't like having to press a button to change the ISO, and I know I can go in and play with the settings, but as it comes out of the box, it can get a little bit tricky with those ISO settings. So that's just me because I'm a Canon guy, but once you master the settings, it's pretty simple. But for me right now, I'm just trying to get the settings right and take the photos and take some video, and I keep tripping myself up. But beautiful day for it. All right, I'm just trying to get these lilies down here, but all the big lilies are out further, so I'm going to try and stand over the top of one. It's a bit tricky. I think I got it. The firmware is out of date, so every time I go to check my images, the camera freezes. So I'm sort of stuck there and really trying to crop in. I'm going to try and see what these 40 megapixels can do. So just going to take some photos now of these wildflowers that are here. Going to just try and get a lot of separation. So down to, let me have a look here, f3.2 and shutter speed 400, ISO 125. And the colors look amazing. Now, I have been out shooting lots of street photography with the X-H2 and doing some video work with the X-H2. It's definitely one of the most capable prosumer level cameras. I should mention as well, you do have a button on top here that is to lock the mode that you're in so you don't bump it. So you push it down and it locks it. So now I'm in manual mode, it'll lock it, unlock it, switch around to movie mode, and there we go. This is where I'm recording. Lake Manchester. Is that blowing out a little bit? Looks amazing. I just come down this track here and it loops around that side. And in total it's 18-kilometer walk, which I'm not going to do all today. It does have dual card slots as well for you pros, you expensive pros, because it's got the mega expensive card slot in there, which, you know, a lot of people won't spend $1,000 on a memory card. But it does have the SD slot for just your average people like me. You know, I really wish that I had a wide angle lens right now. But that's okay. Beggars can't be choosers. I'm going to keep walking. So, as I record myself 15 feet away from the camera because of my 56mm lens, I think it looks pretty good. Now you can tell me what the autofocus is like. I'm a little bit suspect on it, but it did seem to do all right. Before I was taking photos of some bark that had fallen down, and I wanted this red tree in focus. And it knew I was trying to focus on the tree. It kept putting a rectangle around the tree, so that was pretty cool. But again, like I said, for the cats in the cages yesterday, it just didn't do too well. But I think you can really rig this camera up for shooting like commercial jobs. And I mean, I'm not talking big time productions, but you might do a little bit of a social media promo video for the local corner store or for the small business down the street. I think this sort of camera would be perfect for that, or for shooting YouTube videos or outdoors, this sort of thing. Stabilization, it's here nor there. I don't think it's the best on the market, but I think it's pretty good and it's good enough. And you could also put this on a gimbal with a wide angle lens and it would look amazing. You could get lots of wildlife shots with a long lens on this, especially since you've got the sensor size that you've got here, which is cropping in to start with. So, not full frame. Now this audio is obviously not through the camera because you wouldn't be able to hear me. It is through a Zoom H1N and then the Rode lapel mic. So we'll see how that sounds, but for the most part, I think the camera is pretty amazing for street photography, for landscapes, for video. It is like the video beast. Now, I'm probably not doing it justice right now, but I do believe that the video modes in this are incredible. Like I said, there's like 36 different settings for video mode, and by that I mean there's like 1080p, 24 frames per second, 25, 30, 50, 60 frames, and then you've got 4K, and then you've got 4K DCI, then you've got HDMI out, which gives you more options, and you've got 4K 60, then you've got 8K 2398, 24 and 25 and 30 frames per second. So you've really got some massive choices there. And that 8K for me gives the ability to crop in, and the 4K 60 gives you some good slow-mo. So you can really get some good shots out of this. Quite versatile camera. Now back from my little day trip, and I just want to close off on a couple of other observations and a couple of other specs about this camera. Now, first of all, I do love this camera. And, you know, like I'm not really one to say that one system is better than the other. It doesn't matter if you're a Canon guy or a Sony guy or a Fuji guy, this is an amazing camera. Now that is the APS-C format, X-Trans sensor, and it is 40 something megapixels. So you're gonna get some really good detail in these images, and you can shoot in RAW and JPEG, and you get lots of different options there for shooting with. You're not going to be disappointed as a photographer. You're definitely not going to be disappointed as someone shooting video. It's got every possible option under the sun. And I think maybe the only area where I noticed it sort of struggling was with that autofocus, where if I turned my head while filming, it would actually lose focus for a second or two. Once I turned my head back, it would focus back on my face, which was great. But other systems these days will stay on your head even if you turn around. And I think you would take steps to make sure you don't rely on it in certain situations. You just have to adapt. But I wouldn't let that stop you from getting this. Now, for photography, it does shoot up to 20 frames per second in electronic shutter mode, and I think it's a 13 in mechanical. Quote me if I'm wrong, just comment down below. But so it could be faster, but the X-H2S or S2, it can shoot 30 frames per second. So that's the differences, and that might be what you want to look at. Now, if you do shoot in 20 frames per second, it does come in at a 1.29 crop factor. So you're going to have to factor in that on top of the fact that it's a crop sensor. You'll have to excuse my fuzzy hair. I just got out of the pool, had a bit of a swim. Is this in focus? You know what? This is a manual focus lens that I'm using now on a Canon R6. It's a Rokinon lens, manual focus. It's really quite tricky to get myself in focus. Now, it does have the electronic viewfinder as well, which I do find really handy. I love the way Fuji does their EVF. For me, I don't know. I think it's better than Canon the way it's done. It seems more true to life, and it's more pleasant on the eye. And finding my exposure correctly seems to be easier with the Fuji compared to Canon. And I'm a Canon dude, so they just seem to do the EVF better. And that is a personal opinion. Now, I do love the top-down display, so you can look down, you can see your settings. That's good for shooting from the hip. I do like having that. I think, say, the Canon R5 has it, where the R6 doesn't. So that's something to note, that you get that here. Now, it does have 7 custom mode settings on the dial, so you can tune this to whatever way you want and have it all set up for the flick of a switch. And then on the back, all the buttons on the back are pretty standard Fuji setup, so you're not going to be confused if you're coming from Fuji. I only got 1 battery to review on this, but I never ran out of battery, and I would take it into the city for day trips, doing street photography, or when I went out to shoot and do video around the dam. I was gone for about 3 hours of filming, and I didn't even get close to half of the battery life gone. So it's a pretty good battery life. So the battery life seems to last quite well. And then we also have a SD card and CF Express Type B, and I would suggest going to Fuji's website to see a list of compatible memory cards, or maybe checking out some others online that might have tested it. I don't have any CF Express Type B cards. What I shoot on just takes SD cards, but it's there. If you need it, it's there. Now, it does come with quite a few accessories. One of them being a fan you can attach to the back to keep it cool. Obviously, I didn't get the fan sent to me for this review kit, but it's there for that overheating or potential overheating. So that's good to see, and I think some of the competitors could probably have done that too. And especially at this price point, I think is a good option. There are some other attachments and accessories that come with it that can go on the hot shoe, so you can check those out as well. Links down below if you do want to check those out, and links down below to this product as well. I really hope you've enjoyed this walkthrough on my experience with the Fuji X-H2. I think it is a lovely looking camera. It is awesome to hold. It is well built. Definitely it's got weather sealing. I think 79 points of weather sealing. It's just an all-round amazing video camera and photo camera. If you do get it, you won't be disappointed. I can assure you of that. It's capable of everything you can throw at it, and you're going to love using it. There we go. That's my thoughts on the Fuji X-H2. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Check out.